Y'all, this is jump and shoot slash fade art. This is I'm playing Pokemon Black 2. This is a playthrough that was originally started with friends, but then scheduling conflicts appeared, and now I'm just gonna do some solo episodes. Okay, yesterday I was all fired up to talk about AI art, and I was gonna play Risk of Rain over it, but then suddenly OBS stopped picking up Risk of Rain 2, and then my controller stopped working with emulator, so I didn't know what to pick from there. So I was like, God damn it, I give up today. Yesterday was not a good day for that. This guy is still very low level. I don't remember who any of my guys are. But okay, so basically, yesterday, somebody proposed a question in a Discord I'm in, saying, here's a question I don't see very often, which is funny because AI art is like the topic of the past 2 months. But they said, for those who don't know, it's about AI. If you give an AI a prompt, it generates images according to that prompt. How long do you think it'll be before generators become so good that this is indistinguishable from human artists? When technology gets to that point, do you think it'll start to phase out human artists? My initial thoughts on AI art are this. I was lenient on the ones where it would generate photos because, well, like, whatever, it's just photos. Nobody makes that shit. But then people started getting more bold, and developers of AI art programs started to do illustrated art, which means that it's taking art from a pool that somebody else made. How did that happen? It's a good thing this isn't a Nuzlocke. But here's what we're gonna do. When it came to illustrated art, there's the ones that try to generate the style of an artist, like a dead artist, or like just taking someone's art and trying to replicate their style, or they're alive or not. It's just really demeaning. And then there's people that like sell generated art too. I've been seeing on DeviantArt, like people who have like commission pages for their generated art. Like, okay, that's stupid. Like, you didn't make this, and the AI art is using art from like art that somebody else already made into an algorithm, and they can tell me that, oh yeah, it's doing so much different than just taking what they do and tweaking it a little bit. Like, I don't believe that for a goddamn second. But it's all just really not that original, because whatever they generate comes from bits and pieces that somebody else made. So that's where I think it becomes harmful and like kind of just fucking annoying in general. And it really sucks for like illustration heavy artists that put a lot of time and talent into the detail they get, and like the process of their layering and applying the color theory, and then there's the AI art people, who are just like a faction of people who generate shit and pour it onto the internet. They like, when I go on DeviantArt, there's like I still use DeviantArt, and there's like a new AI account like every fucking hour, and they just dump their shit onto it like all the time, and it's really annoying. Oh shit, I need to switch out to the guy I was gonna use. How did I lose with the steel type? Okay, so hopefully he doesn't have any flying type attacks, and then we can go from there. And originally, when it came to the AI art generators, when it came to the photos, I was like, I could see this being fun, like typing a set of sentences and random stuff into a text box and seeing what you get. That's like the appeal was with like DALL-E, and you'd be like, oh, okay, type in I don't know, Black Panther, Despicable Me, Minions, and get like something funny out of it. Okay, and then people were like tinkering with that more, trying to get it to train to start to pick up like artist styles, and yeah, that evolved into things like Novel AI, a lot of other ones I forgot, something AI, whatever, it doesn't matter. But they never, even the illustrated ones, they never look good when you look at them really close. And the tell has been always that they always have fucked up eyes, fingers, and the arms are like bending weird ways. And like just like if you try to type in specific keywords for to make a character, they're always like different in some way. Like a real artist could be like, oh, these features on this character, I can do that again. But if you try to get that from a generator, it's gonna be different every single time. And they all just look really gnarly, and because the thing is, with like hands and eyes specifically, it could be coming from like 10, 20 different pieces of art with hands and those eyes in it. So when you get an output, it could be like 50 different eyes in a single image, trying to like make something original. It's fucking stupid. And like limbs can just like disappear into the body, or like the fingers become part of the chest, and it looks really weird. And even like perfect ones, quote unquote perfect ones, like people are trying to pass off as like, oh, I made this, and pass it off as like art that they made, and that's annoying. That's a big fear right there. And then environments have this like uncanny vague semblance. Like, okay, I've seen like buildings before, and they just like somebody took a brush tool, just like did little lines across it, and to make it the shape of a building, but it's clearly picking up like things artists drew to make a like they're clearly picking up artist renditions of buildings, and they're trying to combine all of these things into one thing, and it doesn't look great in my HO. It's always off, and I hate that. Right now where I'm at is I hope it's a fad, and gosh, I just wish they had their own space to like dump all this shit, because I don't want to see it in spaces where people post their real art that they made or they commissioned or whatever. Like, but at the same time, I wouldn't want them to have their own space, because then they wouldn't be monitored by normal people. Like, where's my starter? I don't have a. I didn't take the starter because he sucks. But then that would give them their own space to not be monitored, and like, really start lifting people's art, and like either halfway finishing it with the AI, or just taking people's OCs and putting them into their algorithm so they could be used later. It's like, ugh, I don't like any of this, TBH. Just in general, I don't want to see it. I wish it would. Like I said, I hope it's a fad that goes away, like NFTs were, or people were afraid that someone would take their thing and mint them on their blockchain. And that has happened in some instances, and even not without that, even without that, it was like a way for like artists to just make shitty art in mass quantity so that they could be collected, and it just demeans the value of art, and just like as an expression, and just treats it like it's a product to be consumed, and it's just really not healthy. I don't think this is healthy, AI art. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna get into this later. So after that question that the other person proposed, I said, no, it will never get to the point where it is indistinguishable from human art, because AI art still does these things that like are a clear tell that a normal human wouldn't do, like, you know, blend the fingers together, like add extra fingers. You know what I've also seen is that like the chest turns into the back and it's disgusting. And there's also the meme of here's this horny booby art, but it's like a whole torso of a woman just stacked on top of like another set of boobs. Like, oh my god. And that's a lot of it. What it has been, it's just been used to make like anime girl art, and it's stupid. And we're gonna die. It's fine. High jump kick. Well, we're bone. And no, I don't think it'll ever phase out human artists. And I responded by saying, oh shit, that worked because he used Roost. I responded by saying, seeing AI art spamming accounts offer commissions and commissionables crosses a line for me. Because it's not even at least like, oh, I use an AI image as a base and then I drew over that and then I'm selling that as an adoptable or whatever. But actually think you can make money off of typing in keywords, which is what AI art kind of is with any generator or any program or whatever, novel AI, sculpture AI, whatever the hell they call them these days. And they're charging for it when literally anyone can do what you did for free. It's like so stupid. And as I said before, illustrated art is just derived from art somebody else already made in some capacity. Whether it was like it's pulling from like 50 artists or 100 artists or whatever fed into the algorithm, doesn't matter. Somebody else, it's taking bits and pieces to make something, and it's stupid. And I'm less empathetic on the idea that some people use it as a way for them to make art because they think they can't get to that level. And maybe that's true. There is such a thing as like varying skill sets. But I see it as like, oh, I can't draw, so AI art is finally a way for me to express ooh. And I don't like that angle, because unless you have no hands or eyes, there's nothing really stopping you from making art. And because there's no barrier of entry to make it or try, you know. Is this the gym? I keep forgetting that. Okay, I keep forgetting that the gym here is shaped differently because it's a blank type gym. Oh yeah, it's the hangar. Yeah, this thing. And I was saying, like, it's like fucking Ratatouille. I think this is a good analogy for how I feel, because like in Ratatouille, his imaginary friend chef, Remy's imaginary friend chef guy says, you know what? Not everyone could be a chef, because in this context, the chef is like the profession. Not everyone can get the job, but anyone can cook. So I applied it here. I was like, not everyone could be an artist, but anyone can draw. So, in regards to the art itself, like, it's usually almost always going to be uncanny. And another good example is that fucking weirdo who commissions, who has like a deforestation white woman bread buying fetish. That guy. He started getting AI art. And, I don't really care about him not commissioning people anymore because his art is stupid. Wait, what happens here? I thought you couldn't stand here. Oh, I guess whatever. But he opens up by saying, well, I don't need commission art anymore, guys. I'm going to pour out my own shit. And then he posts his art, and it's just like the fucking a girl buying bread in a store. And it looks all gross and weird. Ah, god damn it. But in one of the images, it's like a girl inside of the cart. Ah. And it's like, wow, cool AI art. They put her inside the cart. And then it's just like her sitting in a forest with like vaguely formed trees, and it's like, this is stupid. This is most AI art in general. Like, sure, it blends everything together in like color and shading wise, but when it comes to like actual looking coherent, it doesn't do that. So I don't have faith in it, really. I am having a bad day. Okay, so Bluetooth is not working with the emulator for some reason all of a sudden. He did it with like every other DS game I've played, and both my controllers just won't work with Bluetooth anymore, so that's been fucking annoying. Anyway, so this guy, this defender of AI art, and you know something, I've been used to talking about it in spaces where I have the same appearance and everybody, so this was interesting for someone to come to me with counterpoints. They weren't very good, but it was interesting nonetheless. So this guy comes to me and says, well, okay, Novel AI isn't actually free. It requires a book worth of guidance to get exactly what you want, and it's not really uncanny. And they give me these examples of some anime girl. She looks different in every single picture. Like this suit is like vague enough to get the typed in. Like, oh yeah, blonde anime girl with like braids on her head, but like she's got like 3 different hairstyles, and each one the suit is all different colors in certain spots. Like the parts of the costume are like not the same. And they also say Novel AI has a lot of input from the user on tweaking. And some artists just even use it for coloring, shading, and a bunch of other stuff. And here's what I have to say about that. It's actually stupid that it charges you for the input. Or for the outputs, rather. For every time you generate, you get charged. That's dumb. And, they also say, due to the business model, it costs money to generate images. Those who use it exclusively for writing and not for images have some images they can generate for others to offset the cost of the story writing. So, I guess it only charges you for the images. If you use it for writing, like if you're writing a fan fiction or something dumb, then on the side, what they might do is be like, oh, I'm charging AI art commissions so I can keep using the program. And so people selling their art are selling their credit towards using the AI art system at a discounted price. So, yeah. And I say, okay, interesting. I don't like how it's being used in that case, then. So he's using Psychic Move, right? Because the cycle is, it costs money to generate. They sell the AI art for less so they can generate more. So they're not even making anything. They're just using it to perpetuate using the program, which is not what making art should be like. And yeah, I said in those sample pics you showed me, they are like different. Like, oh fuck, this guy is crazy. And I understood the using it as a tool in the regard of like, okay, well I drew it and I did some coloring, but I don't have a good eye for shading and coloring and all this stuff. So I'm gonna use the AI program to like kind of finish it for me, and I still kind of don't really like that, but whatever. They're still doing some of the work, and when I said that, the images they show me look pretty much different, and it's like, well, we don't know the input used to generate those images, but there's some subtle differences, yeah. And okay, when it came to using the AI to like just get a concept out from your mind, like I could kind of see it there. Like if you have an idea of concept, you just visually want to see what it would look like, okay? But people are abusing this, and that's what's annoying to me. Like submitting these and mass producing these as art is just fucking stupid to me. Please don't kill me in one hit. Okay, that's fine. And then they're like, well, if it's accessible and they like what they get, then what's the problem? But I'm like, making art is a creative process. And it's supposed to draw a little bit of, like, talent and input and skill from you as the individual. And then, this is a bad example. They said, how many art firms have gone through that? Everything that's mass-produced today that wasn't before. You know, like teapots or scissors or knives. Like, okay. Those are manufactured products. Like, art... Making art is supposed to be a creative process. It's not like a product you just make. And it's like, oh, we need to increase the efficiency of this by making a program that just, like, does it for us. Like... Yeah, making all of those things by hand probably sucked, and that's why they make factories to just mass produce these things. Art is not supposed to be mass produced. And they say, I would say for the most part, society has improved the result. And I was like, okay, I mean like things like filming or making music or things you have to have a feel or idea or a vision for. Like, no. This I have beef with. And I would call that not the same. Because what they said was, I remember hearing this exact conversation when digital art was becoming a thing. Traditional artists looked down on digital artists because it was doing it all for them. It's like, well, no. That's not the same. Digital artists don't have a feel for drawing and real painting. And all these tools that cheat can work in layers and make easy changes. It's like, that's not the same. When you open up Photoshop or a music program or a film editing software, it's still a blank canvas. It's not done for you. There's no word or prompt you can type in to just get something. This is AI art programs are designed with instant satisfaction in mind. I don't care if you tell me, oh, but they do tweaking and adjustments and all this other shit. Like, they didn't do any of it. And it's all come from somebody already made. Again, I'm saying this again. Will this work if I do this? Kind of. And I was like, sure, there's programs where it's a vehicle to make something in, but it's not like opening a program and everything's done for you, like I said, by typing in prompts in. Like, I use digital art programs, but I still drew on paper, which was a gateway for me to draw in the tablet. But like either way, whether it was a program or not, I still drew. Anybody can still draw and get to that point. And even if they don't, they can still be good at what they do without being like perfect. Like when you go into the front page of DeviantArt, they will see like the really hard pushed ones just to make the site look nice, you know. And then this guy's like, well, many argue it's different skill sets. And I was like, sure. But I wish I went harder on that because it is exactly that. There's this different skill sets you get when you approach art and making it and like finding your own process or whatever the fuck you want to do. It's using AR to get to that point where like those examples they showed me. That's treating art like there's the ceiling where they want to get to the same level by, and they justify using the programs as being like, well, how dare they have the talent and skill to make what they make? I want a piece of that too. It should be more accessible to me. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know being good at something needed to be accessible. Like, Jesus Christ. And they correct me again. Like, it's just more specific. It's not just typing in prompts. It's a lot much more than that. Like, I don't give a fuck. And then I said, okay, why does making art have to be about... Because when they said the accessibility thing, I was like, fuck off. But then I said, why does making art have to be about reducing the skill ceiling? Because that's what this is doing. Is trying to reduce, like... Well, if you want to get to this point, forget all the work to get there. Here's a program where you can do what they do. And now everybody can do it. Ugh. Fuck off. So why is it about reducing the skill ceiling? And it increases the floor, not the ceiling. I was like, how? I don't think so. They were like, nothing about AI art makes it easier to be the best. But if you look at AI art, they all produce the same. So I don't believe that. And it makes it easier to start. Okay, so I leveled with them there. I was like, well, maybe I would hope it's making AI art and outputting those things is like a gateway to trying to make art similar to what they've been generating, and like maybe looking at like how it works or how the shading is done or how the line work is done or whatever, and then they can like go off of that and try to do it themselves. Okay. But I can't trust mass amount of people who use Novel AI or any AI art programs, so just not rely on it entirely and just use that as the medium while also saying it's a tool. It can't be both. Like AI art or Novel AI or programs like those are not a medium. They're not a valid medium to me. They're not a valid medium as like digital art or watercolors or paints or whatever. Because it's not being used as a tool. It's being used to do the whole thing. And seeing new DeviantArt accounts like flooding their shit into the website and just everywhere, Twitter, probably Tumblr. I don't use Tumblr anymore. I don't know. I just fucking dealt with this guy. Do I have revives? I need to revive somebody. Oh, actually, I need to... Okay. Yeah. And then they didn't really argue with me here. They just said, well, it just seems like you went straight to being big mad and not investigating beyond what assuming people think they do when they use Okay, this wording was weird. And not investigating beyond assuming that the people who think they were just using DALL-E prompts or something were correct. Well, to that I say, people who try to use DALL-E prompts and assuming they're correct, I didn't fully believe. But people who use Novel AI, and this person is just trying to defend Novel AI and the higher tier art programs or art generating things. Just because it's better than DALL-E means that they're doing the same level as work, or they're doing more work, and that like is okay. Like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, and most of the free AI art programs are kind of like the ones generating all the uncanny stuff, and most of what people are using on DA aren't. It's like, well, okay. On DA or DeviantArt, they are using Novel AI and a bunch of all of those other like paid programs. That doesn't make it like better that they're just uploading stuff they didn't make. And when they upload their stuff and people are looking for AI art to like mimic, the conversation isn't how did you make this? You're so good. It's like, oh, what keyword did you use? It just turns art into this like, or it turns the process of making art into this thing where they're treating it like a product to be consumed. I think I said this earlier, and it's like, well, these people who use this, it's perfect for if you're more of the ideas guy and you don't want to actually put the work into like making it how you want it to be. Instead, you're just constructing an image of something based on using other stuff that already exists. No matter how good it detracts from like the source, it's still using bits and pieces from it. Yeah, one of the fears is like, oh, it picks up somebody's OC and incorporates it into their algorithm and the output. So like, I don't know, you have a character with like horns and a Raichu tail. It picks up that and their generated image, and it does the same fucking thing. It's like, this isn't original. I'm sorry. And then, you know what? I finalized it by saying, knowing that Novel AI has more depth to it doesn't change my opinion on it. Like, you're just telling me, well, it's actually more complex than you think it is. Like, I don't give a shit. And then they're like, well, I don't know what to tell you then. Like, all of my stuff still stood up. Their counterpoints weren't like that great. And they go on to say, my perspective is just a tool that makes art more accessible. It's being used more than a tool. I've already said this. So I don't think that's fair. And then they go on to say what I thought people were using this for. So they said, big thing that drew me to the programs was that I got some hate from traditional artists saying that I knew nothing about color or shading or the skills equipped, and I didn't go to art school, and I didn't have all these things. That was a long time ago. But right now, I don't see the harm in it. I think people in the AR market... I don't think people in the AI market necessarily detract from digital or traditional art spaces. That's them saying, I think their AI art programs are on par with traditional art and digital art. And I was like, no. And I went on to say, like, well, I would have said one can at least develop the eye for those things over time, like color, shading, whatever. Like, I took art classes, but I didn't go to art school. But, like, I was already drawing before then. I was already wanted to draw. I have my own, like, feel for how I like to do things, and I feel good about that. And I don't look down on 3D rendered art either, because I used to think that that was like a shortcut to making stuff. But like, people who use Blender and other 3D art programs, they're not cheating the system in their cases either, because like they're still they find like a model or whatever to pose, but like they can still make their own they can still sculpt their own 3D models and then use that for projects. And they can like make backgrounds and design 3D environments that way. Like, it's still, I would still call that valid over AI art. So yeah, that's mostly the end of that part. That was the end of that discussion that I had on Discord. But then somebody else goes on to say they're an artist who does see the value in it as like using it partially, not the whole way. Do I need to heal somebody? Yes, I need to heal you. But they say, well, it can already be indistinguishable, and AI has won an art contest before it was discovered to be one. Okay, so in that example, like, somebody cheated and people thought it was real art, but it wasn't. That's what that says to me. And I doubt it will replace everyone, but there's definitely a portion of art that it will be used for. And they say, at least in the US, it has been ruled that AI art cannot be assigned ownership rights to, so that will limit corporate use somewhat. And then that was my other theory about the way AI art would end, was that like people will try to profit off this, but it will be ruled as some sort of transformative art that's like not fully original, whatever it generates. So and the ones that charge, like, obviously probably have some sort of copyright on them, so you can't because you have to say like what it was from, I'm assuming, or like, oh, I generated this in some program, or I generated this in that, I used Novel AI as an assist tool or whatever. Please don't have a flying type move, and you have a flying type move. Why doesn't my clean guy have like cool powers? Alright, we won. Oh, god damn it, Skyla. I hate you. Hyper potion even. Now I can't like win. Oh, okay, that did more because they used the potion. Alright. I'm okay with that. Yeah, so I think there's going to be some like copyright jarble that'll mess things up for people trying to profit off of AI art and pass off as original content, but it's like, it's not really. And this person says like, well, I might use it for a cityscape, and if I need like ads or posters in the background, they get like that weird background art where it tries to form like words on a poster, and it'll just be like a bunch of shapes that look like letters, and it's like not really saying anything. And it looks like weird. And here's something they said that bothered me. They said it's more hitting landscape artists and large concept artists, as AI is being made to target those specific things on purpose. I wish I remember the name of the one I was seeing going around on Twitter. But I don't think it'll replace custom OC art makers. But the fan art side, I may see a partial replacement, since those characters can more easily be recognized by AI. Because what they're doing essentially is like Google searching to make art. They type in like, oh yeah, I don't know, Candace from Phineas and Ferb sitting down eating a sandwich, and they can get exactly that. And whatever they use, a tweak or whatever, they can get with that exact thing without actually having to do it. But then on the other side, if there's any faction of artists, whatever they do, background artists or cityscape or landscapes or whatever, if any of them is under threat, then this is still a problem. Being like, oh well, as long as people don't do that, then it's fine. But it's like, oh, well, I'll use Meta Knight and Brawl and I won't use a tornado. They're going to use a tornado. I know how broken this is, but I'm not going to abuse it. Like, yeah, they will. They will abuse it. I already heard an example where an artist was drawing on stream, and someone using an AI art program screen capped their unfinished whip in the stream, and then finish it up in Novel AI or whatever they used. Like, that's fucked. That's somebody abusing it. That's something being bold. Like, that they're just gonna push the envelope further and further until we get so pissed off that like something has to be done about it. And I'm hoping it'll just go away. like NFTs did. Like, it's so funny to me that NFTs were kind of doing that with like taking people's art and like using them in some fucked up way. And now like that's gone and dead. Like NFTs NFTs like market tanked, and every company trying to do it. It's just trying to pull the rug out of it to save themselves. Like CNN, I heard CNN is getting caught doing that. It's like, gee, that's what other people were doing. So they also go on to say, I can see the OC community becoming more secretive about their OCs because they think that people will feed their designs to an AI and easily replicate, like, to post tons of art of them. Even taking the character directly, they can be like, oh, their character sitting down eating a sandwich, and they can get that. They can do more art. They can shit out more art with someone else's character than the actual person can, and like that's that's gross to me. Like that's trying to make art into this like easily mass-produced thing in the name of accessibility, when it's like it's not going to be used for that. I can tell you that right now. And I don't think it's gonna quite like put a lot of people out of jobs, but it's gonna just be really fucking annoying to see all the time. So yeah, and I had to take this and confirm it with other people I talked to, and I showed them the conversation I was having, and someone said, "Well," and I said about the commission thing. How do you think you're gonna charge money for AI generated things when people can just do what you did and pay money to that? Like, And then someone says to me, that's because they have a super special, unique prompt known only to themselves. You know what? Yeah, because they might patent their own prompts. You're like, okay, if you want this, you have to get it from me. But it's like they can find it eventually by just typing in a bunch of shit. And there's no need to learn how to draw as a skill anymore with these, because the goal is to become the prompt master. Master of all prompts. And just like hold this just hold all these phrases together and like try to sell it to people so that they can do what they did. It's like, God. It's like if like a high tier artist or like a good artist were to just like sell pieces of their skill to people in varying amounts, it's like that's not how this works. And I was telling them about like what they said to me about the field of entry, because I think it was already accessible. And sure, you can't like do what they do coming right out the gate. It's like it takes time to get to that level and like work and practice to get to that level of doing what they do. But this AI art programs are just like, well, now you can do what they do. How dare they have the skill to do what they do? And this person says to me, who agrees with me, says, tell them it corrupts the field of entry by giving newcomers a whole new set of things they need to unlearn if they want to enter the fields as adults. It's like, yeah, they have to unlearn this shit so that they have to learn how to not make it look like AI art so that they look like normal human art. Like, God damn it. They also gave the same like they also said the same like level argument that I said, where okay, I can see it being harmless or easily accessible in that it's only used as a tool in the creative process but not the final result of one, which is also what I said. It should be a guide to help you completing your work, not be the final product. But I said they're not gonna we can't trust mass amount of people to not just abuse this and just turn out like quote unquote finished art. Especially if they're gonna do things like take someone else's unfinished art and finish it. Like, fuck that, dude. Is another like tech bro thing that they're pushing, like they did with NFTs. Just like that they are they're trying to do like damage control by saying stuff like this to artists that are upset that it's being used to just like steal or just finish other people's art or whatever is going on there. So I don't remember where to go next after this gym. Oh, who is that? Oh, it's a bird. I'm a bird. And like whenever tech bros talk about it, they use the excuse like, oh, it's just technology. You don't like technology? It's like, that's not what we're saying. We don't like technology. We don't like how it's being used. I don't give a shit. Like, I've dug new technology. Like, the things I use are new technology. Like, Photoshop, people like CSP, Clip Studio, Paint. Like, that's new technology, but it's not being used to abuse things and, like, the process of being an artist. Like, AI generated art is. I think there's no point in trying to argue the moral problems with it, because to people who use it and they enjoy what they use it, like their argument is just, well, why can't I do what they do? It's not fair. But if we can catch enough instances of them abusing it, it will be regulated, hopefully, or just like abandoned. Or like people will stop trying to make the algorithms like better, and you're like, well, nobody likes what we're doing, so we're gonna stop. And that's what my hope is. And somebody else says, it's the alienation of everybody from their own labor and the arts of some of the most personal acts of labor around. Yes, I agree. Like, when AI art, it removes the personal touch to it. Like, there's no... You can tell me they tweaked stuff or whatever, but, like, there's no personal attachment to it. Like, any AI art can look like the same artist. Quote-unquote artist. They look like... If they use similar keywords, they're gonna get the similar results, and they look the fucking same. They look all the same to me. And I hate that tech bros are being like, come on, it's just new technology. They're being used like any other art program. And that's exactly what they said about blockchain technology. It's like, come on, it's just new technology. Why do you hate it? Ugh. It's like, it's pointless. It's just designed to milk shit. I'm fighting the same guy again. When I said that the person told me that Naval AI is just more than just typing in prompts, like someone was like, I get pissed thinking about that part, because it's like when Tony Stark said to Spider-Man, I'm nothing without this, and he says, well, then you don't need it. So there's some people, like, they see AI art and they're like, I need this. I need this to get on their level. It's not fair. It's just like, fuck off. This is a field in which there are varying levels of skill. What's wrong with that? It was already accessible. And you know what? When that person said, the first time I was arguing on the Discord the first time, when they said, like, oh, well, traditional artists were mean to me, and they said I couldn't do this and this and this and this, I think they were getting this close to saying that I was gatekeeping, or maybe, like, getting into art is gatekeeping inherently, because people will tell you can't do this, or this and this and this. It's like, when you have varying levels of skill, that's the beautiful thing about it. Is that when somebody makes art, we all don't look the same. When AI art, it all puts them at the same level. And they don't do any of it. And it's fucking stupid. It's gonna be used for, like, corporate gain. We're gonna be like, oh, we had a background artist, but we just use the AI art now, or we had a character designer, we just use the AI art, or we had a this X artist, so we just use this now. It's like, dude, what are we doing anymore? This aspect of, like, life did not need to be, like, capitalized on, you know. Like, god damn, it's just so depressing. Someone else said a good point, which was they hate the talking point of accessibility, because if making art, if Novel AI and art programs are making art accessible, then we should start teaching DeviantArt base classes in college, because we need to be able to use things that are already done for us is how you do art. It's like, no, here's a drawing class. Here's how you draw a fucking body. Or here's how you draw someone. Okay, so what do you do after this? I already beat the gym. So what's going on here? So yeah, final statement. I don't like it. I didn't like it like I didn't like NFTs. It's just I just hope it's a fad that blows over. We're gonna see some. We're gonna see some bold moves from them. We're gonna see some tragic shit, like probably worse than that time somebody screen capped the artist on stream and finish their thing, and it didn't look good. Like they had a hand like half drawn. Then in the finished generated product, it like fused the fingers together, and everything was just kind of like blends together. When like the artist would, or human artist would like, never do these things, and it's just like that was actual thievery used in a generated thing. It's like that's not making AI art have a good name when people do shit like that. So. I don't know. When's the world gonna come to its senses? And like, not every aspect of fucking life needs to be automated. You know, God.